Venezuelan Ozark, the Bolivian criminal enterprise. In this report, collected from open sources, the author reveals a slew of money laundering schemes run out of the Venezuelan regime. If you thought that what we have here is a proxy war between the United States and a host of bad actors, you aren't necessarily incorrect, but it's important to note how much money is at stake if the regime fails. The amount of dirty money skullduggery working out of that riches-to-rags country is astounding and should be noted. Before we get into this fantastic report, let's note that socialism, in its current and easily predictable disastrous failure and collapse in Venezuela, is a show of a morally bankrupt ideology and system. When all power is given to the state, and the state can do no wrong, the state will act with impunity. This isn't a matter of a perfect system being corrupted by the nature of man, but rather a system that defies nature. No system is to be held in such high regard and esteem that it is above man. Indeed, James Madison noted that if men were angels, no government would be necessary. If angels were to govern men, neither external nor internal controls on government would be necessary. End quote. Unlike the American system of checks and balances on the state to control itself and its own power, socialism in reality is an elitist power grab for a new sloth of slave owners done in the name of the people. A system that insists it is liberating the people whilst enslaving it is just playing cheap wordopoly with its staunch true believers who would rather buy the utopian fantasy than the bloody reality. Its true believers, desperate and hungrily filled with promises of coveted spoils of their neighbors, can never seem to get their feet back on the ground after buying into the deluded dream. No matter how many times history snakes bites on the throat, they cling to utopia, even raising their soft pink throats to the heavens with closed eyes so the serpent may easily slither up their flesh, coil, and dine. Rather than admitting folly, quote, they live upon their vindictive pride like a starving man in the desert sucking blood out of his own body. End quote, Dostoevsky. Socialism is corruption. One cannot corrupt thievery. Theft is already corrupt. The notion of no individual private property is morally bankrupt. The notion of stealing your fellow countryman's private property is corruption. Socialism is corruption. Corruption, by name, is socialism. Venezuelan Ozark, the Bolivian criminal enterprise.